Into the box, into a dangerous spot, what a save, Takaoka, follow is in! That's a familiar sight. It's the black and gold celebrating against the Whitecaps.
In defending, and it's oftentimes not the first ball, it's the second one that you've got to deal with. Are you ready? Great little flick on there. Unfortunate that Seguro doesn't finish it. Takaoka's been very quick with 2 or 3 saves early going here, but great from Mark Delgado to fill in the gaps, find the loose ball, and finish. They need something from Tillman and Delgado in the final third. They get that, or does he stay stubborn?
What a chance to double the lead early for LAFC. Bawanga scores! He did change it up, slightly to the left. They have nightmares about this man in this city.
It's been reversed. Since LAFC have come into this league, they have dominated the Vancouver Whitecaps. And yes, Vancouver, the Cinderella story this year, CONCACAF Champions Cup final, first place on May 11th.
Vite leaves, Berhalter serves, White!
This is extremely tight. Does Tillman keep Brian White onside when this ball is hit? From that angle, it looks like Tillman keeps him onside. I think the goal stands.
The big switch. Sabi's got some space. Valencia defending. Sabi cutting inside. Flips it towards White. Deflection. White again!
Side, whether or not Ocampo takes down Hollingshead, there's no whistle blown. Then Ahmed switches the point of attack. Little bit of a deflection here. It gets to Ahmed and just brilliant. Brian White, time and time again, is in the right spot at the right time. But I think Ocampo and Vancouver get away with one. That is a foul in my book. No whistles blown. Play until the whistle. Brian White and Vancouver think in the moment. It's too.
What is up, and welcome to another episode of the VOBG. That's right. Voice of the Black and Gold is back. I'm your host, Nick. And listen, if I'm going to start all this over and revamp ourselves of who we are, who LAFC Voices of the Black and Gold podcast is, I couldn't ask for a better person to be here with me than my man, Mr. LAFC Uruguay. Gaston, what is going on, man? It's been a minute since we've had a Voices of the Black and Gold podcast. Brother, it means more to me than you can even understand how much you being here with me. I really appreciate it. Look, we have been doing this for a while now. I went back and I was looking in 2019, we started doing this on Spaces, okay? On Spaces. And years later, we create something that's a podcast, and then it ends up doing well. And, look, some unfortunate things happen, and I've took a break, but I am happy to be back. And I couldn't think of a better person to be here with me than you, man. You know what you mean to me, and I appreciate you taking the time and being here. We have a lot to cover, Gaston. You're muted.
Now? Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you, Nick, for having me here. Voices of the Black and Gold has been like a second home to me in all what LAFC, Twitter, and LAFC in general means. I was really eager to talk with you about LAFC, about football. I really appreciate you, and we need to keep going. I think that Voices of the Black and Gold is a really, really nice project with more than just talking about the sport, but also about a community, and we should never stop knowing that what unites us as LAFC fans is the club, is the sport, nothing but it. So really happy. We've got a lot to talk about. The game against Vancouver lets us know a lot of things about the club, and it's also a great game to measure really where we are as a club in this season. So thank you, Nick. Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
No, it's all my pleasure. And man, we have a lot of stuff new that's going to be on Voice of the Black and Gold. As I said, we're starting over, So if you go and look at our YouTube now, it won't be anything. This will be our first episode on there. So we're going back to our grassroots. That's why I even titled it Grassroots, right? But for numerous reasons, Gaston, we're going to start our spaces back. We're going to have spaces after the games again. Well, obviously, we didn't do it this last Sunday. It was Mother's Day. Hope all the women who represent LAFC, the Black and Gold, had a great Mother's Day. But we're going to get back to our grassroots, bringing in the fans, letting them express themselves and talk. That's what this whole thing started on. When just to get a little bird's eye point of view is when Gaston and I first met. It was only three of us on Twitter Spaces at this point, right? And then we grew it, and then next thing you know, we have Craig on there, and we have 5 of us, and then it went to 10 and 100. So we're going back to our roots on Spaces, okay? We also are going to drop Wednesday episodes, getting to know fans from around. We have about 20 lined up already, Gaston. I hope you're going to be on one of those also.
For sure, man.
21 interviews. And it's going to be about the people, how they got into LAFC, why they chose LAFC, that whole thing, but from their perspective, and not something that's over edited and trying to be all good. We're just going to let them speak and tell their stories. I think that's going to be really cool. We're going to drop those on Wednesdays. Hopefully by the end of the month, we'll start those series. And then, we have a lot of friends within the VOBG community in our chat that wants to come on and be part of this project. Instead of it just being a set group of guys, it's going to be a group effort, right? And so it's something that I really enjoy about it. And as you said, it's about the community. We have one of the best LAFC chats there is. We've added some new blood in there, so it feels rejuvenated. The content in there is awesome. It's all LAFC all day. I'm absolutely loving that. And so really stoked to get everything rolling again, man. I'm really happy about that. And so, Gaston, we're just going to jump right into it, man. LAFC for me this year, and I have not, I haven't been shy about it. LAFC has not been up to par, and I blame a lot of it on Dolo Ball. And I'll give you an example of why. We've seen a good example in the trailer that I just shared, right? We get up on the 8th minute, and then I think it was the 18th minute. We're up 2-0. And what do? We completely sit back and just we want to defend. We actually don't want the ball anymore. We start playing Dolo Ball again. And this is what I find interesting, Gaston, is as soon as he announced that he was going to leave the club, now we're pressing again. We're seeing high presses. We're playing that progressive ball, the pressing ball that we've seen with Bob Bradley. And then as soon as we start winning, now we go back to Dolo Ball and we sit back. Right? Like there is a bit of a problem with that. Wouldn't you say, Gaston?
Yeah, I mean, I think Cherundolo's LAFC has had an identity problem from the first game. I mean, we've always been saying, we're a counter-attacking team, but we've had different variants of how we counter-attack, because counter-attacking itself doesn't mean anything, because you can counter-attack in many ways. And LAFC this season hasn't just found the right way. In the past few seasons, we would depend on Buanga, and we would give the ball to Buanga, and we would have Carlos Vela playing some through balls or creating plays. Now we don't have a creator. The last couple years, and mostly last year, it was with Bogusz. He was our main creator, and right now we don't have that player who can connect the three main parts of the team: the defense, the midfield, and the attack. So we're seeing kind of a new way of counterattacking, which is way more direct. We don't have much play with the midfield. Of course, Marky Delgado scored, and he's always there to make some passes, but he's not the number 10 or the player with the quality Vela or Bogusz could have in the past seasons. So Yeah, we're relying too much on some individuals, like Buanga, for example, and it's getting too predictable for the other teams. So I don't know, man. We sometimes have glimpses of great football. Like I can remember Ordaz's goal against Houston. It was like a 19 passes sequence. That was great to see, and we moved the ball from right to left, and then from left to right again. So we could open spaces like that. But against Vancouver, we weren't just able to keep the ball and to be patient enough to generate some spaces on their defense. Of course, they have great defenders, Tristan Blackmon, for example, and forever black and gold. Great defender. He had Buanga, uh, really greatly marked, and he didn't let spaces for Das, for Martinez. So that's what I would say mostly. We are still a counter-attacking team, but what kind of counter-attacking team are we? Does Dolo even know it? That would be a great question.
I mean, listen, this is my argument, right? Like we're going up against Vancouver Whitecaps sitting at the top of the Western Conference. Absolutely a great team this year. You had them play in the Club World Cup against Miami and just absolutely demolish them. They look fantastic. We go into their house. They have not lost a game this year in their house, and we put them on their back feet, and we let them back in by sitting back and not making them uncomfortable, not pressing them, not putting the pressure on them. And that is how we got the 2-0 in the first place, is by making them uncomfortable. They expected us to sit back, Gaston. They expected us to not want the ball. But no, we say, you know what? We're going to shove it down their throats. And we did. And it looked wonderful. The first half was a glimpse of the old LAFC. And I was writing in the chat like, dude, what am I watching?
It
Is
was
this
beautiful. The
Dolo
first
Ball
20
right now?
minutes.
Like this was beautiful. And then the second score after the 18th minute, it was like, no, we hand it back right before the end of the first half. And then the second half, we were non-existent. It was not the same LAFC. We completely came out of there just saying, I think we'll just try and not mess this up, right? As opposed to let's go down there and get back to what we did for the first 18 minutes. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, but that's how I seen it.
No, you're not. You're not. And the easiest way to tell you're not wrong is that it's not the first time LAFC does something like this against Inter Miami in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. We did exactly the same thing. We took the lead in the early minutes, and then we just sat back, and we were playing defense without any intentions to attack, and until they came back, and we were in that position when we needed to score. So that demonstrates it wasn't circumstantial. It is something that Dola tells the players to do. It's part of our identity. I could accept sitting back and just defending because I love defensive football. I'm Uruguayan. If you watch the Uruguayan national team, we are all about defense, but not for the entire 90 minutes. I mean, I could accept it for like the last 20, 30. If we're playing Vancouver, supposedly the best team in the West. I could accept it away at Vancouver. You can sit back the last 30 minutes, but sitting back for like 65, 70 minutes, which is what we did yesterday, it's impossible to survive. It's impossible to survive, and Vancouver is a team that doesn't let you make mistakes. In the first goal, it was a clear mistake defending set pieces, which has been a problem for us in the pretty much for our whole existence. With Bob Bradley, it was a problem. Now with Dolo, it's a problem, and they just didn't let us make mistakes. And against a team like Vancouver, you need to minimize your errors if you want to get out alive. We got out alive with a point, which at the end of the day, it's a good result because you're playing against the best team in the West, a Champions League finalist away from home. But the fact that we had a 2-0 lead at some point makes us feel like empty-handed.
Okay, so that was going to be my next question to you. If we were down 2-0 and came back, the 1 point we are
Amazing.
we're celebrating, right? We're feeling very good about this, and we're saying, you know what? We went in there, we came down against the number one team in the West, and we walked away with a point. We came back, we showed heart. But when you go up 2-0 and you give those 2 points away, this point feels like even a loss almost. And what's crazy is it's 5 games where we've either drew or we walked away with the 3 points, and that's great. But it still feels a little downer, right? It's still because we had those 3 points. They were ours, and we gifted it to them.
Yeah, it's a different story. I don't know maybe if you remember when we drew the Portland Timbers 3-3. That game felt like a win, but because we came back, because we were always trailing, and we got the third goal, we got the point. It was a completely different feeling than this game. And yeah, it definitely feels more like a point, like 2 points lost rather than 1 point won.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, football is like this. We're gonna see if this point was great or not at the end of the season. Maybe we end up winning the West by 1 point. So I don't know. Right now, it feels like 2 points lost. But I mean, this is the thing about football. It's always better when you have the results and everything done. So we'll see. We'll see. It'll. The thing is, we don't have much time to think about it because we already have 2 big games coming up. We're gonna talk about it later, I guess. But this is the thing about MLS. We don't have time to process things because everything happens too fast. We're traveling.
It does, and we got to be moving on this pretty quick. And look, me and you, LAFC, Black and Gold, faithful forever. A good friend of mine, Will from MLS Moves. I'm going to bring him on because he's unbiased, right? So I'm interested to see how he feels about what we're saying. Because again, biased LAFC fans, no doubt, that's what you're going to get here at the VOBG. It always has been. But I'll go back to our spaces way back in the day. And if you remember, Gaston, when we were the Bob out crew, it was because Bob was changing these tactics, right? It was because Bob only wanted to press forward and never wanted to do any of the defense. Now we're on the Dolo out, although he is leaving, and we know this, but it's because he wants to sit so far back. He has our guys damn near so deep in the box that it's hard for us to recover. And then we just invite them to put more pressure on us as opposed to us putting pressure. I'm almost curious to see who you and Will believe that would be the right coach for LAFC that could give a little bit of both, because where you are a person that loves defense, I watch a lot of Serie A where it's a lot of tacticals and it is more of a forward pushing systems there, and that's what I love. I loved when Bob Bradley pushed forward. Yes, it got us out of sync with our stuff, and we couldn't get back in time, and I understand that, but I really enjoyed how much pressure and uncomfortableness we put them through. And so I am, and later on in the episode, I do want to ask you guys who y'all think would be the right coach. So be thinking about that a little bit. Let's go on and bring Will on here and join us here on stage. Will, what's going on, man? First of all, thank you for joining us here at the Voice of the Black and Gold. Back and running, back to our basics over here, man, bringing the roots back to the Black and Gold, the number one fan base, number one LAFC pie for all things LAFC is going to be right here, man. And this is just going to be a little bit of a tactic of what we're going to bring the rest of this season. And I'm interested to see how you feel about LAFC dropping the 2 points in Vancouver. Is it more that they dropped it or that they saved themselves a point?
I mean, I think they dropped it. Like you said, they were up 2-0. They should have finished the deal and came away. And, we talked about this a little bit earlier on the phone. Vancouver fatigue, right? 16 games in like 2.5 years or something like that. Maybe they're just tired of seeing this team. I told you that this is probably their second biggest rival in MLS by default, just because they don't hate them because they're good. They hate them because they're tired of seeing them. LAFC fans are tired of seeing Vancouver at this point. Vancouver fans are probably tired of seeing LAFC. But yeah, they dropped 2 points, or they dropped 2 points. They should have had 3 points in this game. But Vancouver is a good team. But if LAFC wants to rebound and try to win another MLS Cup in Dolo's last year, which I'm skeptical if they can do that, They have looked better since he announced he was leaving. They've looked better in the last 5 games. They had a very, very slow start, which was concerning. But if they want to win an MLS Cup again, they got to beat teams like Vancouver. They can't give up 2 points. They cannot give up the 3 points they should have had like that. They've got to be able to finish the deal. And I would say that is a concern this season. They can't seal the deal. They concede too late.
Now, the unbiasedness of me, or the biasness of me, I should say, I want to say, hey, look, we should have had a yellow card on their last goal. Okay. However, you can't leave that to chance, Gaston, right? Like even Tillman is saying, oh, that is a foul on Hollingshead. That is a foul on Hollingshead. But you can't leave it to chance. You can't say, hey, I hope that VAR. We know VAR doesn't freaking show up the way that they're supposed to.
Nah, and a foul isn't an excuse for conceding 2 headers in the same play in the box. That's unacceptable for a professional team. I mean, I know it was a tough play to defend because it was a really nice corner, and then Brian White is an animal. The way he moves on the box, in the box, is amazing. That guy has a scent for goal that only top strikers have, and I'm really impressed by him. He is the real deal, bro. I mean, hopefully he makes it to the Gold Cup with the US. He deserves it. And I mean, I know that the circumstances maybe weren't ideal, but conceding a goal like that just demonstrates a lack of tactical work and also concentration. I mean, Segura was in a good position. Maybe he wasn't quick enough to react and to jump or try to maybe not win the header, but at least bother and touch a little bit White before he got the header. And yeah, I mean, in a league like MLS where plays are only turned over if they are obvious and evident, and that VAR doesn't really work in the way it should, you cannot depend on referees being right. You cannot rely on it. But I mean, the thing is, even if they didn't score the second goal in that play, we could all see the second goal coming anyways, because we couldn't get out of we couldn't get out of our side of the pitch. Mm-hmm. We just couldn't push up, and I mean, it was coming anyways. It's not a fair excuse, in my opinion.
I want to just take a second and say thank you for this comment, bro. Like, it actually makes me a little emotional. I'm actually glad to be back. I can't explain it to you guys. Like, I think what we were doing for MLS was cool, but I'll always be biased. I got tattooed LAFC. It's in my veins. And that message just hits home for me. So thank you very much, guys. The chat's going crazy. I really can't tell y'all how much I appreciate the support. So thank y'all so much for that, dude. It's like I'm like twibbling inside. I don't know what the right word is, but it feels good to be talking LAFC again and being back home, and my studio wall looking good with all my black and gold. I'm feeling good, man, and having Gaston here. And again, I know I'm interrupting what I wanted to do, but I don't think people understand. Gaston was the first person I spoke to about LAFC. That's the truth. That's absolutely the truth. He's the first person that I would write with on Twitter back then about LAFC. And because I was in Hawaii and he was in Uruguay, and we had a bond because everybody else is at the games, and
yeah.
and then Craig, who is in Ireland but is Scottish, and like truthfully, this is how this community got built. And to have Gaston here, a friendly face that makes me feel comfortable. I couldn't have done it with the better person to start off. And then Will, me and Will have really grown a real friendship outside of soccer, and we chat and just have these two guys on with me, man, is very special for this first episode. And then to see comments like that is it means a lot to me, dude. Like, honest to God, it's one of those moments that I'll remember, just like when Larry Freeman held the cup up and yelled "Voices of the Black and Gold" podcast when we won the cup. You know what I mean? Like, these are things that I will remember about my journey doing this. So thank you, guys. So get back to the program. I apologize about that. LAFC 2-2. where I'm going with this is that I thought it would have been such a good confidence booster for LAFC to walk away with those 3 points. And yeah, walking away with 1 point is good because that's 5 unbeaten games and we get points walking away with it, Gaston will. But I would have liked the 3. And this is the reason why. Now we're going in to play Seattle, who rocked us 5-2. Okay, we absolutely got murdered in Seattle. And then we're going to go play Carson down the road. That is absolute shit, bro. These cats can't do anything. They're at the very, very bottom. But this is the problem with that. They are going to come out ready for blood. They're going to do everything in their power to win that game. So I would have loved to have all of the confidence that LAFC needed and to go into this stretch. Am I wrong for that, Will? Like, don't you think that would have been more of a confidence booster to say, hey, we went into the Whitecaps, we walked away with the win, so now let's go and get these and then go into El Tráfico and show what we're all about?
Yeah, I mean, Vancouver only has 1 loss this year, and I think they had 2 draws going into this game. So obviously, if you were able to get 3 points against them and hand them their second loss this season, that would have been huge, huge momentum and a confidence booster, like you're saying. I mean, obviously, getting a draw against the best team in the league, it could be worse, right? It could be worse. You guys are going to get a chance. It's like another redemption tour. You get a chance to go play Seattle, beat them until I'm pretty sure until the Western Conference final last year, LAFC had never lost to Seattle with Dolo as the manager until the Western Conference final, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was unbeaten against them. So he needs to get his lick back. He needs to go show them, hey, we run this. We beat you guys several times before that. We dominate Seattle in the Dolo era, which is kind of funny to hear, saying Dolo dominate anything. But yeah, I think that they have to get the 3 points this weekend. That's a big game. They have to get the 3 points. I think that I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about the El Tráfico match, but I don't really have any concern about that game. I mean, there's no concern with how bad the Galaxy are playing that you guys should be able to beat them. But this is a big game, especially because, like you said, 5-2. I mean, you got to beat Seattle. You have to beat Seattle this coming weekend, or actually tomorrow or Wednesday, right? It's this Wednesday.
Wednesday. Wednesday.
Gaston, they're sitting in 5th place. We're sitting in 6th. And as I said, a 5-2 win for them, just an absolute smacking upon LAFC. And that is when I started really getting nervous about what LAFC was doing. It's when I really seen the cracks in the wall and said, I am worried about Dolo as the coach, and I'm worried about the real oomph of this team, the balls, if you will, like, are we able to step up? And Seattle was the team that really made me worry about that. But things have been different. Yes, they just beat Houston, and LAFC is on, like I said, a 5 winless streak. Do we have what it takes to now get that back rivalry, able to walk away with a win versus Seattle?
Well, I hope so. I don't know. I don't have the real answer, but I hope so, because it would mean a lot for us, especially having the derby in the weekend. And I mean, as Will was saying, you gotta win games against these opponents if you are willing to win the MLS Cup and the whole thing. If we want to win the Western Conference, we need to stop dropping points against these type of opponents, because each point we lose against these opponents is also a point they win. So in that fight for the first place in the Western Conference, you gotta win against this type of rivals. So I'm hoping we can get away with the 3 points. I know Seattle is one of the toughest opponents we have in the league. It's also one of those emotional games where there's sort of a rivalry too, because we've always been fighting for that trophies in the conference. Also, we've always been there in the Champions League, trying to win. They won it, we didn't. But yeah, I think that we're in a moment where I think that the qualities of our team are enough to counter Seattle's good and the Seattle's strengths. I think that our defensive structure is good enough to stop Danny Musovski from scoring, although he's in a great shape, in a great form right now. And I think that it's one of those games in which I want to see a player like Cengiz Sunder playing. I think that he would be incredibly useful for LAFC to break the Seattle's defense. They have really physical defenders, and we've seen David Martinez and Nathan Ordaz, two youngsters that have an amazing future ahead and are great technically. But I think we need that special, different touch to make a pass, to get away from the defenders. So I think Cengiz Sunder is a key for us, and if he plays, I would feel way more secure. Although I love Martinez, I love Ordaz, I think that they are amazing players, but I think that we need a little bit more of experience in our starting 11. And Under has played lots of games like this, not against Seattle, of course, but against top opponents.
Fuck the Galaxy says our club lacks killer instinct. Do you think that that's a problem going into this run that we're about to have? You know, because look, it's true, right? We have complained about many things like this. And Will, I don't know if you know, but LAFC, we complain about it. We say, we travel too much. We have too many games, this and that. Gaston, when it comes to this type of game, going in from a Seattle and then going into from Seattle into a Carson game, do we have the killer instinct, or are we lacking that?
I mean, I think we have a mix of players that I think the youngsters are really eager to win. I think that I see the hunger in Nathan Ordaz. I see the hunger in David Martinez. I see it in Igor Jesus. I mean, that guy is a beast, and he's always with this winning mentality. I think that they are pillars to this willing to win. Maybe we have some players that aren't in their best shape or in their best moment, and maybe that's impacting their confidence. For example, Timmy Tillman, Ryan Hollingshead. I think that they're not playing at their best, and maybe that has an impact in their confidence and also in their eagerness to win. Because if you're not confident, basically you're not convinced you can win. You're not convinced you can do your thing. So I think it's also a time for Dolo to show what type of a leader he is. We've always seen that he is a good friend in the locker room, that he is able to deal with different personalities. He has failed to motivate players enough in the past. Let's see if now that he is in his last year, he's found that beast inside him that can lift the players up and their confidence.
Will, Henry says, I suspect a rotated squad on Wednesday. Is that what we need? We need to rotate a squad and not bring our A team for them to make sure that we have our A team for Carson? Or do you not worry about that at this point of the season, and you just go out there and you run your A team on both games?
I mean, I think that you have to run your A team on both games, because you're trying to build momentum this summer, and also you have a big game at the end of this month. And I feel like you want to build some confidence against when you're playing Club America. I'm hoping that they win that game so they go to the Club World Cup. I think you got to get as many wins as you possibly can and get these guys confidence heading into you're exactly right. You got to get as much confidence as you possibly can, because if you do have the B squad against Seattle and you lose again and you beat the Galaxy, but you look like shit, I just don't know how you can feel good at this point in the before that Club America match. That's huge. I think that's the biggest game this year, the Club America match. It is. I mean, it's a game to play in the FIFA Club World Cup. It's a big deal, and they have to have some momentum going in. They have to get 6 points out of these two games. I believe they got to win both of these matches, especially because the Vancouver not winning that match. They got to beat Seattle, and they have to beat the Galaxy.
No, well, yeah, we definitely we're going to talk about the Carson game here in a little bit. That's for sure. I mean, there's no question about it. If we lose this game, you will see fans lose their absolute shit, and I will be one of them. That is a for sure thing, bro. The chat will be bad. We will need to mute it. Soccer USA, another great friend of the show. Oh my God, I love this guy right here. And when Tillman drops it and is shoulder to shoulder alongside Igor, it's never a good sign. This is very true, right? Right, Gaston? Like, this is when we know we are in trouble. This is when we know that LAFC is not playing the ball that we're supposed to play. What does Dolo do to fix that for this game? Seattle.
I mean, the thing is, Dolo doesn't tend to do anything to fix the midfield in the games. Last game against Vancouver, it was evident we needed to change something in the midfield. It was non-existent for like, I would say 40 minutes from like the 25th minute to the 65th. Do you say it in English? Okay.
Yep, 65th.
65th. Okay. So I know we don't have the right personnel because we don't have many options in the midfield, but you brought Frankie Amaya, brand new signing, and he's playing Yeboah in the midfield too. And he isn't just using them. Yeboah has played a bunch of minutes this year, not enough to be fit. And then you've got Frankie Amaya, who hasn't been used pretty much since he came. So I think that what he can do is rotating a little bit the personnel. I mean, I agree with Will that we got to play our best team, but I wouldn't mind if we see some new faces in the midfield because they looked tired. Marky Delgado looked gassed in the second half. He just couldn't keep running because he keeps his all every single game, so it's normal. I mean, they're humans, they're not robots. I think we gotta rotate a little bit the midfield, and also I would like to see Smoliakov, the Ukrainian left back. I mean, he has played very few games. Hollingshead is 34 years old now. He needs to rest a little bit prior to the Galaxy game. I'm not saying we should change the whole starting 11 and play all the substitutes. No way. And against Seattle, you cannot do those luxuries.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Smoliakov for me is a key player. You rest Hollingshead, you get a more dynamic fullback. He scored a banger, an absolute banger against San Diego in San Diego. So he has some offensive qualities, and we're pairing him with Christian and Alex Roldan, two great players on the right side. So I think we need someone with fresh legs and with eagerness to. I mean, he needs to perform if he wants to play. So I need to see that hunger in him.
Yeah,
Nick,
Henry said the same thing. Delgado looked gassed, and Ardaz and Martinez, it wasn't their best game in Vancouver. Go ahead, Will.
I was just going to say, too, I could also see maybe a rotation where maybe you get some guys play 60 minutes or something like that, and maybe bring some guys on in the 60th minute, too. Like, there will probably be several key players. Like, I think Denny's obviously going to start, right? There's no chance he doesn't start in Seattle. He's definitely going to play. I would say Martinez will probably start, too. But I could see maybe like 60 minutes, like maybe 6 minutes for the key guys, just because you want them to be fresh, obviously for the Galaxy as fresh as you can, but you don't want to just sit them completely. Like you want them to play. You got it. I just think that this 3 points could be a pivotal moment because out of the 5 games we were talking about the unbeaten, they only have 1 win, right? Or is it 2 wins?
They have 2 wins and 3 draws.
Yeah. So you guys you desperately need a win, in my opinion, especially if you're trying to, climb. You're in 6th place right now. You're trying to climb the Western Conference standings. 3 points is crucial right now. I think that they are going to treat this game very seriously, and they're going to go guns blazing for this Wednesday.
Our center midfield gets outclassed almost every week. This is very true. And we're talking about the front 3 right now. And I think we sort of seen it in Vancouver of what it was going to be. Bawanga, Martinez, Ordaz. Ordaz has been absolutely fantastic in my book. We've seen a lot of quality from him. And then you have Martinez. He ends up getting a yellow, comes off early. But I like what I'm seeing from him. I would like for him to go more 90-minute games. We have it. We've seen it in the what was it, the CCL games or whatever it was, but we're not seeing it much in the league games, and that's concerning. What do you think about that, Gaston?
I would also start my starting from front 3 for example the Club America game. The biggest game of the season would be Buanga or Das Martinez. I agree with you, but I think also at the same time, if you play them, you have your 2 DPs, your other 2 DPs sitting on the bench. Giroud, he hasn't played in the last 2 games. and Cengiz Under has played a bunch of minutes. So I mean, it's like Dolo is betting on the young kids. I love it because we hadn't seen much from Ordaz last year, and well, Martinez was injured for a long time. But also, I think that we're in a spot where we have different profiles up top, so we can play different players according to the opponent. For example, Giroud is your poacher, your aerial nine. Then you have Ordaz, who is fast and can be pressing the whole game for counters. Then you have Evo Vice, who is more of a physical striker. There you have three different profiles for the number 9 position. I think it's the first time in our club history where we have this many options, which is great. Because, for example, Ordaz didn't have a great game against Vancouver. He looked kind of lost, and I mean it's all about the different circumstances of the game. I think that Evo Vice coming on was great, and that would be my main take. We have different players, different profiles, which is great. But the starting three would be Ordaz, Martinez, Buanga for sure.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't say that should be our starting lineup if we had a different coach. I'm like you, Gaston, and I'm telling you right now, Will, is that I would have Giroud starting and an Under starting by far with a different coach.
Yeah, but how Dolo plays? Yeah, exactly.
But the system that they're in will not let them work. So the best three are Ordaz, Martinez, Buanga for Dolo Ball, right? Yeah. But any other team or any other coach that came in, they're making Giroud on there to Gaston's point, right? You have a prolific guy that's known for great headers in the box. Like, this dude is an absolute legend. We've seen the guy from Chicago that just left and went to the Swiss League and is killing it.
Shaqiri. Yeah.
It would be the same type of situation when Giroud leaves. Bottom line, it is the system that he is in that has made it where he cannot score. And that is the absolute truth. So, yes, this is the lineup that we should put out, but it wouldn't be had we had a different system, Will.
Well, also, too, I want to point this out, that Under is under contract until the summer. I think his deal runs out in June, and then they have an option. I don't know if they have an option to extend his loan 6 more months, but they're going to have to make a decision on if they want to keep him. And just based on what you just said of him not really fitting Dolo's system, you can't keep him. You're not going to keep him, right? He's probably going to leave this summer, so that'll be interesting to see who they bring in. But you can't waste spots like that.
But wait a second. If we bring in another coach, isn't there a chance that because of his quality, the guy has great quality?
Yeah.
No, he does have quality. He showed some stuff, especially when he was at Roma, and I think he was pretty popular at is it Fenerbahce? I think Fenerbahce. But the problem is that they need to get all hands on deck this season, and you can't buy a guy hoping the next dude's going to be able to utilize him correctly. You got to get someone in here now who can contribute to this team. And, we talked about a certain guy, a French legend who is really good friends with a couple guys on this team. We won't say his name, but maybe they get him. Maybe they don't. I don't know. There's obviously been some conflicting reports. But especially with the Club World Cup, which I know we'll talk about that later, this is an audition for Under still. Like, he still has to prove himself. Right now, the way he's played for LAFC with the salary he's getting paid, and I think his transfer fee would be around like $7-8 million. There's absolutely no way in hell you can buy him. So I think that you got to walk the fine line of playing him, seeing if he's worth it, see if he can play. But you also don't want to, limit your chances of winning these matches. And like you said, he doesn't fit Dolo's system. So it's really a tricky situation. I think inevitably they're just going to cut their losses and he's going to be gone this summer.
Man, Gaston, imagine that. Cut your losses was such a good, piece of a puzzle that if you didn't have this coach in, he probably is leading of some type of award in MLS right now. Like, he is that type of caliber player.
Yeah, of course. He's a top European player. If you're not a top player, you don't get to clubs like Roma, like Leicester City in the Premier League. I mean, of course, the guy is incredibly talented. But I mean, I think that he was brought on a loan until half of the year, more of as a market opportunity rather than as not like a signing for Dolo. He wasn't getting much playtime in Fenerbahce with Mourinho, and I think that it was an opportunity for us to get a good player on a loan, so no fee involved necessarily. I don't know the exact terms of the contract. Under gets to play, even if he's not starting, a little bit more than he played in Fenerbahce, because he wasn't barely he played like, I think it was like 2 games in the season or something like that. And I think that the main reason why we brought him until June or July, it was because in July we were supposed to be getting this big name, this big French star that I won't say his name either. But I think that was the plan. We'll see if it comes out or not. So I think that Under was more of a patch. But of course, I mean, having a player like this as a patch, it doesn't make sense, because I mean, you can bring a USL player as a patch if you want, or you can promote someone from MLS Next Pro if you need someone to fill that spot as a supplemental player in the roster. So I mean, the only way I can see Under playing in our team is sort of as a number 10, as a player more in midfield than in the wing, because in the wing we need some more pace with Martinez or Das Buanga. Under is not a fast player; he's kind of slow, but he's got this technical ability. This we saw it against who was it? St. Louis. He came on. He gave 2 assists to Buanga. One was amazing, and he was playing in midfield. He was not playing up top. So I think that's his spot.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he did some of that in Roma. If I'm not mistaken, I think a couple times he was in the midfield. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but you know, I remember watching him with Roma a little bit, and I was impressed with what I seen from him. To know that we got him as a patch, as you guys say. You know, because we were in the hopes of getting the big name French guy that you guys don't want to say, but I'll say it, Griezmann, that I was completely sold that we were getting. All that fell through, and I know this for a fact, all of it fell through last year when the owners didn't want to pay the fee and they wanted MLS to help them out. That is what screwed LAFC up on getting Griezmann. He was a done deal. LAFC expected to pull the Messi card and be like, well, we can't afford all the money, so MLS help us, and this will be good for the league. And they're like, no, he's not Messi. You guys got to front that yourself. And look what he's done at Atletico. So that's a shot on the owners, and that's facts. Again, voice of the black and gold. We speak truth here. If your feelings are easily hurt, this isn't the one for you. But that is truth of how it went down. The owners played the cheap game, thinking that they would get him for cheaper this year. And nope, his price tag went up more. Hence to the fact that he might end up staying at Atletico and retiring there, which only makes sense, right? Like, he is a great player. He is a legend within the French community, and he would have been a great asset, a great player, someone, another marketing ploy for MLS, but LAFC should have been ready to front that bill. And so you bring in a guy like Under that says, hey, well, he's going to be our patch until well, now that might not happen. So who is going to keep that patch, right? Or now we're going to deflate. We have to have someone of that caliber, regardless if it's in Dolo's system or not, because what happens is, let's just say, to both of your points, and you both are a lot smarter at this than I am, we're letting Dolo go, but now Giroud's like, you know, Dolo didn't do much for me, and I'm going to go elsewhere. Under is now going to go elsewhere. So now you've lost 2 really big superstars who could put this team on their back and put you in the playoffs if they were under the right system.
I just want to say that if they do end up declining Under's option for his deal to buy him, and they swing and miss on Griezmann, I don't think they should fill this DP spot this summer. They should carry the trend. They should wait until the new manager gets here and see who it is, what their system is. Hopefully back to like the Bob Bradley days of pressing and actually fun, exciting ball. But just wait it out and let him have an influence. I hate when they sign players knowing a new manager is going to come in or so. I want the manager to be able to pick some of his players. And this is one of the most important spots you can use to get a prime quality player is the DP spot, obviously. So I want to see what happens. So someone says Rafa Marquez 2026. That'd be interesting.
Wow.
But, I think they have to be very strategic about this. I was thinking about a player, one of the best wingers in Dolo's system, one of the best players that, obviously Denny Bouanga has been incredible, right, in the Dolo era. But the guy that I thought the second best winger in the Dolo era was Kike Oliveira, the most explosive, dangerous on the wing. He looks so good with LAFC. Now, I know he's kind of infamous these days because the way he left wasn't ideal. But, man, his speed down the flank was incredible. Like, he was a stud for this team. That's what they really need, someone like that on the wing.
Well, no better person to speak about that than our man Gaston, who has known about Kike for a while. And look, we've had some great ones. Rossi, Rodriguez, Kike. For me, the best Uruguayan player that we've ever had was Diego Rossi.
Yeah, for sure.
I still love Diego. I miss having Diego. I wish he was back on our team. He does wonderful. He's doing wonderful on the crew. But I enjoyed Kike until he started pulling those stunts, Gaston.
Yeah. Well, the whole Kike Oliveira saga was quite a fun one in the preseason. I won't comment much on it because I would get banned or I don't know, my account would get suspended. But I mean, we definitely need a player like him with his profile. I totally agree with Will. I thought Yeboah was gonna fill that role when we signed him because he's a dynamic player on the right side. He played as a fullback for Columbus, but also he would play as a right winger or left winger. And he's fast, he's dynamic, he has that defensive help that Oliveira provided. So I thought Yeboah was going to be our man. So I was kind of relaxed because I said, oh, they replaced Kike with Yeboah. Kind of the same profile of player. But now we're seeing Yeboah playing in midfield when he plays, which doesn't happen really often. And we need that player because David Martinez is a magician on the ball. Kike Oliveira wasn't as good as nearly as good as Martinez on the ball, technically. You could say they both are fast, but Kike had this defensive support that Martinez, Bouanga, Ordaz, under whoever that plays on that right side can't provide. And we've sometimes seen LAFC getting outnumbered. I
think your mic went out.
Technical difficulties.
I'll drop him down real quick and let him fix that. There. No, are you there? Well, we do have a big El Tráfico game to come up also, and it's going to be all day long, every day. Listen, I will say it's interesting now that they're not doing as well. We haven't heard much from them. Usually I'm getting spammed with all their stuff. They're telling me how much I suck, how bad, how horrible of a person I am, and how my account just absolutely is dog shit. But I haven't heard a word from any of the Carson fans. And it's interesting because last year, all we did was hear about how great they were. And this year they haven't won a damn game. I'm expecting that Vanny is going to be let go because we already know they're not going to let him go during or after an LAFC game. And why would they? But listen, man, this is the problem, and I'm going to be real about this. This is the problem with MLS. Once you win the cup, you have to let all these people go. We at LAFC seen it when we got the star. We felt it. People had to leave, and you couldn't pay them. That's a bit of what happened with Chicho Arango. And it's unfortunate for the situation, right? However, they should by now have won a game. They are bad. When you see Greg Vanny out on the field chatting with them and doing all that and the way that their faces are, I tell you what, though, one of the best interviews I've seen of anything that was Carson was Ramirez going in there and being like, yo, I apologize to the fan. Now, he's an ex-black and gold, and I get it. He's been a long-time Carson fan when he was a kid and whatever. He will still always be LAFC black and gold to me because I enjoyed when he was in our club. But if LAFC loses this game, we are going to absolutely lose our shit. And this is why. We are a better team than them as of right now. The way that we sit, we are a better team. There is no explanation or reason that we should let them come into our house and walk away with 3 points, especially when they have not won a game. We cannot be the first game that they win. We cannot. And on top of that, we cannot let them come into the BMO Stadium or bank account, whatever we want to call it. We cannot let them come in and get that win off of us, right? And they are in the dirt. They are really, really in the dirt. And this is going to be one of the craziest El Tráficos because I don't think we ever had one of the teams in the very bottom. Right. And especially not one without a win. So as I said at the beginning, they're going to come for blood. They are really going to come from blood. Gaston, are you back?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you are back. You are back.
Yes.
We can't let them come in and win in our house, Gaston, and they're going to come for blood, man.
No, I mean, it would be totally embarrassing to lose against this Galaxy side. I don't care if they win on Wednesday. Even if they have only one win in the season, they just lost 7-0. If we lose to that team, call the season off. Let's not play the game against America, whatever. I mean, we are not ready to compete at any level if we lose against this Galaxy side. They're terrible. I'm sorry for all the Galaxy fans because at the end of the day, yeah, I want them to lose, but I also want El Tráficos to be entertaining and to be a fair game. Right now, they're like literally the worst team in the league. But as I always say, derbies are different. You don't play derbies, you win them, and that's our mentality, that's their mentality. And if we were talking about LAFC having this extra motivation, if we had won against Vancouver, imagine for the Galaxy what it would mean to win against LAFC, to finally start to get things rolling against your biggest rival, against the club that's been a pain in the neck for them ever since we came to the league. And derbies are always a separate game. I remember maybe last year when they were playing better than us, when you could tell the Galaxy was they ended up being the champions, but we just didn't have this underdog mentality. We always tried to win. We always tried to make it our best game of the season. And I think that it's going to be the same case for them now that they are the worst team in the city or in the county, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, I'm confident. I mean, I don't think we're losing. I'm actually saying we're winning by a fine margin of goals. But I mean, the possibility is always there. And it would be so embarrassing. Imagine a team that lost 7-0 a week ago beating you in the derby. Nah, come on. We cannot let that happen.
And I misspoke. I'm looking at my notes and that we're actually at home for Seattle, but we're at their place
at Carson, yeah,
for the Tráfico, and that's my bad. I apologize. I'm a little jumping around, Will, but still. We should be able to go in their house and get those 3 points, Will. They are on the back foot. They're on the fence. They're trying to jump over and run right now, and we have to capitalize on this when we go in their house.
No, 100%. I mean, you guys can't lose to LA Galaxy this year. You can't do it. I mean, they're the worst team in the history of the league. After this past weekend, they are now the worst team in the history of the league through 12 games. So if you lose to that team, you know, I've been talking about Vanny getting fired, their manager. Maybe Dolo needs to get fired if he loses that game. Go ahead and pack it up early. Say, hey man, listen, we're gonna get you 6 months. We're gonna get you out of here 6 months early to go back to Germany. You cannot lose this game. And you know, we talked about, like I said, they got to get 6 points. I think over the next 2 games, they got to look a lot better. I mean, they have looked bad. They have looked better, but I'm talking about not choking the game away. Dolo, I've said, is the king of choking. He is the king of choking away big games. So they need to get some confidence built up, be ready to go for Club America. And how many games do they have in between? They obviously have these 2 games. They have a 3rd game before that Club America match.
Yeah, and even a 4th if I'm not wrong.
4th. Okay, so four games. Yeah, they probably have to win 3 of these games. I'd say they got to get 9 points out of the possible 12.
And that's very possible. That's very possible with the team that we've seen the last 5 games. It truly is. Like, we're seeing glimpses of it. We're seeing hope. We're seeing and again, I just remember writing in the chat. I remember writing Will and being like, yo, where has this LAFC been? Why are we playing so good now that he is talking about leaving? It doesn't make sense. But you see it. The possibilities are there for us, guys. And if we could get back on track at the right time, you know what it makes me think of? And this is an off thought, and I should have said this a minute ago because we are going to play them. But Seattle, I remember, what was it, in 2020, I think it was, maybe 20. Seattle was horrible the whole entire year. And then next thing you know, towards the end, they just start winning everything, bro. They just turn their whole season around. They end up winning. They end up winning the whole thing, but they were on the right track. And you started seeing a little bit towards the middle. Oh man, they're turning stuff around. They're really beating teams. And then they might have a little mess up. And then towards the end, they just don't lose. They just were winning everything. And then they go into the playoffs and they say, you know, they win the championship. And you're like, what? How did they end up winning? That could be LAFC. If we could catch fire, if we could get the guys rolling, the Ordazes, the Martinez, and the Boangas playing the way that they can, if we could find a group of midfielders that could hold it down and show us some of them quality passes that we need to be able to get it up to the guys up front. And if we can have our defense and not rely on the Hollingshead that's, you know, later in his years, if we could find the defense to be able to hold the line, we could be that team, because I'm seeing glimpses of it. The first 18 minutes of that Vancouver Whitecaps game, we're winning the cup. After the first 18 minutes, you're not. You're not. You might not even make the playoffs. Like, that is how dramatic it is.
I was going to say this too, Nick. I think that another thing that you guys need to target in the summer is you need to get another center back. I think you because I think you guys miss Murillo personally. I don't think he ever replaced Chiellini when he retired.
Never replaced Chiellini.
Now, Lloris obviously replaced the leadership, in my opinion, even though I still don't think he's as good of a leader as because Chiellini was like a lion on the field. They desperately need another center back, I think, maybe even 2. If they want to be serious about winning the cup this year, they need to have 2. Because like you said, the way that Dolo plays, very defensive oriented. You can't have a bad defense if you're have a defensive oriented system. You got to be solidified back there. You can't be conceding 2 goals when you're up 2-0. You got to be solidified in the back line. So I think they need to add 2 center backs, and maybe, you know, if Under gets replaced or whatever, but they have a checklist of what they need to do, or a list of what they need to do, and they need to check it off. And I honestly think center back has got to be at the top. They've got to get some center back help.
Yes, all pressure is off Dolo. We're starting to have fun again. And then it says Dolo is going to win a cup and dip out. Mark my word.
Oh, that would be amazing. I mean, we're out of the Champions League now, so he has the MLS Cup and the Leagues Cup. So he's got to win one of them, two at least, to make that come true. I mean, I don't think we're winning anything this season, which is kind of sad. But I hope we can make it to the Club World Cup, which at the end of the day would be like a trophy to me at least. We get like 10 million in cash, not in TAM or GAM, whatever MLS money. We get it in cash. We are in the eyes of the world. We would get to play Chelsea, Flamengo. It would be like, for me, if we can win that game against America, it would be like a final for sure. It's a final. It's that playoff game. It's the opportunity to say, well, maybe things aren't going in the right way right now, but we can save the season. We are one game away from being in the greatest club stage in the world, an event that we should have qualified on our own merits. We should have won the final against Leon at the first place, but then now we have an opportunity that we just didn't expect to have at the beginning of the year. So it's a lifesaver for Dolo. If he can win it, the pressure for me would be totally off for the rest of the season, because you really cannot expect much, at least right now, for this team about winning MLS Cup. I just don't see us having that thing. You could say you could see the 2022 or even the 2023 team to have. So yeah, the Club World Cup game against America, it would be definitely a game where Dola could say all the pressure's off. I did my job, and I can enjoy the rest of the season. I'm not saying we should just stop playing and caring about it, but we should also remember that making it to the Club World Cup is like the hugest thing we can up to for this season.
Okay, so listen, I usually end the show in an hour mark. We're a little over that, and I just have a couple more questions. At the very beginning, I asked you guys about your coaching, who y'all would like to come in for Dolo. I'm going to get to that, but we also have score predictions. Chat, you guys have been absolutely fantastic this show. Again, from the bottom of my heart, I can't thank y'all enough for joining and watching this. Over 320 people on our first episode back is just making my heart go boom, boom, boom. And it means a lot. Now, this is what I want from you, Chad. As the boys are going to tell me their score predictions, will you please put your score predictions in there too? We're going to start with Seattle first. Guys, what do y'all think the Seattle prediction games, the score prediction will be? Will, I'll start with you first on this one. What do you think the score prediction for the LAFC Seattle game will be? Chad, let me see what you got.
Yeah, so I said that I think they'll get their lick back. Obviously, they got smoked in the last game against Seattle. I'm thinking like a 2-1 victory. I think it maybe looks a little similar to what the Vancouver game looks like, except they're able to obviously hold them off from tying the game up or even winning. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be 2-1. I think it's going to be probably. I don't want to put too much expectation on this game, but I think this could decide how this season is going to go. Like, I think not the LA Galaxy game. You almost had me slip up there and say something else. Not the Galaxy game, but the Seattle game is going to tell us like what this team is really about this year. I think what's going to happen the rest of the summer.
Gaston, where are you sitting for the score prediction for the Seattle game?
I was gonna say 2-1 too, but I don't want to be boring, so I'm gonna say 3-1, maybe a last minute goal when Seattle are attacking in a last chance to score. Yeah, I think we can win it. I'm confident. I think that, as Will was saying, if we are able to approach the game in a similar way to Vancouver, especially in the first half, we should win. But I mean, Seattle games are always tough, and they are having a good season. They have Dani Musovski up top, who's gonna be someone to watch for the center backs, and of course they have a really talented squad. But I think we're taking the 3 points.
I think we're taking the 3 points too. I see a lot of 2-1s, 2-0s. I see here Gaston at the 3-1 and Will for the 2-1. But I got to be honest, I think a 2-0 will be also where we're looking for a clean sheet. And this is why. We want a clean sheet to go into El Tráfico. High confidence builder. coming off of 1 point in Whitecaps, going to a team that beat you 5-2, getting it where it's a clean sheet, even if it's a 1-0, 2-0, I'm going to be happy with, but I want that clean sheet. This is really what I'm hoping for. So we go into El Tráfico with the highest of confidence. And so, Gaston, where are you sitting at against for the El Tráfico game? I did hear you say you thought we were going to run it up on them too when we were talking a little bit about the El Tráfico Carson match. What is the run up that you think that we're going to end up having?
You mean like the score?
Yeah, the score.
As I also said, derbies are different. I think that the Galaxy is not going to be as terrible as they usually are, but I think we can still manage it. Considering it's in Carson, we've only won once. I think a 2-0 victory would be fantastic for me. I know that maybe we could score more, but let's remember it's in Carson. It's a stadium that we've always struggled in. So yeah, I would be happy with a 2-3-0. I would say 2-0 to be a little bit more conservative on that one.
Will?
I'd say 2-3-0. Galaxy can't score this year. I mean, they just got beat 7-0 by the Red Bulls MLS Cup rematch, and they got absolutely just beat down. They're limping. If they lose this weekend or on Wednesday, they might have a coaching change, which could change things up because sometimes if the locker room's tired of a voice, maybe they get up for a big rivalry game, especially if there's a new manager. If Greg Vanney's a coach, it's 3-0, probably LAFC over the Galaxy. If it's a new coach, I'd say 2-0, LAFC over LA Galaxy.
I'm feeling this 3-0, 4-0 right here. But look, I definitely think that they could maybe get one in, but they really haven't been scoring. So that's why I'm okay with the nil type of situation. 3-4, us run it up, try to really take the dominance back. Because look, the race in California is high. San Diego is sitting up there. San Jose are really good.
Chicharango.
They're both really, really freaking good, San Diego and San Jose right now. LAFC and Carson, we're fighting it, bro. We're fighting to still be very relevant. So I expect LAFC to show, no, we are not the bottom team here in California, and we are coming for you guys that are sitting above us. Let me show you why. And because we're going to extend our winning streak, here we go. Now we're going to beat Seattle, and we're going to go into El Tráfico. That will be 7 games unbeaten. This is the type of confidence and role that we want LAFC to start on. And so I think that's what happens for I really do. I think a 3-0, 4-0 could be 3-1. I mean, I get it. We can't say that they're not going to score, right? But we're hoping that we can keep that clean sheet. Okay, guys, this is the moment. I'm just interested to know who you both think. Gaston, I'm going to end with you because you are LAFC faithful. Will, out of someone that doesn't have a team, who do you think best would fit for LAFC?
Okay, so I got 3 tiers. I'm not going to go crazy, expand on all of them, but 3 tiers of managers. I have the dream hire, the realistic hire that's got like MLS experience, and the fun hire. Okay.
And Gaston, you do the same. I want to hear your 3.
Wow. Okay. So I got to think 2 more names.
Yep. Your dream one, realistic, and then you'll just be satisfied with. We'll go ahead.
Okay. So the dream hire for LAFC would be a guy that you and I've talked about, which would be Zizou.
Oh man,
Zidane. Okay. That would be an incredible hire. He's won, I think, 2 or 3 Champions Leagues at Madrid.
3.
He is only 50. I think he's not even 50 years old yet. Come here, get things on track for a couple years, and then
be the highest paid coach ever.
Be the highest paid coach in MLS history, and be able to live in LA. Get new change of scenery. I think he's in the United States right now. I think he is living in the US, maybe in Miami. That would be the dream hire, obviously.
Okay.
The safe hire, which would be also a very good hire, would be Jim Curtin. Jim Curtin, obviously, lost to you guys in the 2022 MLS Cup final with the Philadelphia Union, has been a proven manager with a team who's, I don't know if LAFC fans realize this, the Philadelphia Union's record transfer fee, record in the club history when he was manager, was $1.75 million. That's it. That's their record transfer fee. So that guy was able to get a very, very budget-friendly team to the MLS Cup final and took you guys down to the wire, and which was one of the best MLS Cups, maybe the best MLS Cup final in the history of the league. So that would be a great hire. He's gotten a lot of he's gotten extra out of players and had them perform maybe above their talents when he was with the Union. He would do that with LAFC. And then my third fun hire, which is going to get people mad, I would just love to see him here because of his personality and the French connection. I would love to see Thierry Henry maybe be the manager of this team because he would hold Olivier Giroud accountable. He would hold Griezmann accountable. Anybody on the team, he would hold accountable. He's one of the smartest players of all time. Very motivated guy. A lot of people say he's a bad manager, but he really hasn't had a good opportunity. Monaco was a disaster when he was there. He coached Montreal before. He knows the league. I think with LAFC, he would be a lot better than what we've seen before.
Pookie wants to say, how much can LAFC spend on a coach? And if I'm not mistaken, there is no limit for coaching spending. So it can come out, they can get how many ever million they want, and it doesn't affect the roster, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. If either one.
Right. Yeah,
I'm not sure.
whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, Gaston, I'm ready to hear your three.
Okay, so like my I wouldn't call it a dream signing, but I would like to see Tata Martino, the Argentinian coach,
Yes.
at LAFC. I think that he knows the league. Of course, he was incredible for Atlanta United at the time. Then, well, his last spell at MLS maybe wasn't perfect, but he also won titles. I think that he knows the league. He has this South American connection that I love. I love the South American and the Argentinian energy, the way they understand soccer, football, the eagerness to always win. I mean, if you have Tata Martino as your coach, you know you're gonna try to win every single game, because Argentinians are just like that. They're born winners. Then my more kind of realistic signing I was gonna say Jim Curtin too.
Okay, good.
He's a really nice coach. I mean, we were like 30 seconds away to losing an MLS Cup against him. He's done miracles for the Philadelphia Union. He got to the CONCACAF Champions League semifinals where he lost against us, to the MLS Cup final. He developed some amazing players like Kai Wagner, McGlynn, Blake, of course, the keeper. He was the best keeper in the league for a long time. And the fun coach would be Giorgio Chiellini. I don't know if he has the studies or the licenses he needs, but I mean, he knows the club. He is loved by the fans. He was an amazing player. He's smart. He has like a university degree and whatever. I think he would be perfect. The thing is, I don't know if he has the licenses. If he does, bro, bring me Giorgio. I would go to war with him. I would trust him in my life. I mean,
So
that guy is.
You literally took my coaching that I was
I'm
going
sorry.
to say. No,
I'm sorry.
no, don't be sorry. Do not be sorry. Because I agree with you. You can even ask Will. I wrote him. I believe that Tata should be a choice for LAFC for the South American connection. I think that would be good for LAFC. I honestly think that it's going to be it's going to be Curtin, or they're going to go into Ante. But I would love for us to go to Giorgio Chiellini if it wasn't a Curtin, because Giorgio knows LAFC. He is very smart. He is the reason I watch this sport. He everything in City A for Juve. It was everything that drew me in, and he made me love this game the way that I do. And so, Gaston, thank you so much for saying it. I'm not the only one. I appreciate that so much. And I appreciate all of you guys. We've been here an hour and 20 minutes, way over what we normally do. Gaston, thank you for staying here with me. I know it's late there. Will, thank you for coming on with me. And chat, what can I say, man? You guys have made me feel back home. And that's from the bottom
That's what
of
the LAFC is about, man. I'm so glad to hear that.
like I said, we have some really fun things coming, guys. The interviews on Wednesdays are going to be amazing. Please make sure you check it out through the fans' eyes. It's going to be so sick. They're going to tell their own stories, and it's going to bring it in. Spaces. When you come to our spaces after games, talk. Just talk. We want to hear you. I don't want to hear me. I do this. I want to hear what you guys have to say. It is your time to talk. It's your time to get it off your chest, whatever it is that you want to say. That's what the Spaces is about. That's what it was about when we started in 2019, and that's what it's going to be about when we start in 2025. And then we're going to do this. We're going to do this every week. Hopefully Gaston's going to be back. Hopefully Will be back. And any of you guys that want to comment and just let me hear your thoughts, I'm all for it. So thank you guys for being here with me from the bottom of my heart. It means everything to me that y'all have accepted me back. LAFC runs deep in my veins, as I said at the very beginning. I got it tattooed on me because it's the one thing that I love about American soccer MLS is LAFC, the black and gold. And it's been from the day my daughter was born and we were on the hospital bed watching it before she even knew, to us going to a game and her chanting Dolly Dolly black and gold. You know, it runs deep in my veins. And I just appreciate y'all being here with us. Thank y'all so much. And yeah, we're out. Have a good one, guys.